There are places and situations where you absolutely depend on your stove, because you need to melt water to drink and of course to cook. The Omni fuel stove is dependable and it burns just about any kind of fuel, such as LP gas, white gas, petrol, gasoline, kerosene, paraffin, diesel and even aviation fuel, which makes it easy to travel with even in remote places. Once you fill the fuel bottle up, maximum to this line, you touch the pump. And when the pump is firmly attached, this fuel bottle doesn't leak. And when you use the stove, you just attach the hose. This screw swivels, you don't have to turn the whole fuel bottle like this. Okay, so now we will light it. First of all, the Omni fuel has two valves. One valve is just to open the flow of liquid fuel. The second valve you use for simmering and for precise control. Once you have pressurized the fuel bottle, and this you do by pumping about 20 times or so if the fuel bottle is full. Then you place the fuel bottle with the text on facing up. Open the first valve and then the second. When you do this, the fuel squirts out and wets this little pad. Let it spray for a couple of seconds and then you turn the second valve off. Now it's time to light the stove. Remember to light it all the way down on the priming pad. This time we're using white gas, but remember if you're using kerosene or diesel, you need to preheat the stove a little bit longer. After a while you're gonna hear a hissing sound from the stove, and then you gently turn the second valve on again. Now the stove is gonna start burning with a very efficient flame. The Omni fuel is quite silent, but it will get even more silent when you put the pot on. I'm using a Primus pot, which makes the stove much more efficient than if you're using an ordinary pot. When you turn off the stove, just flip the bottle over like this. Don't turn the valves off yet, because if you do, there will still be fuel in the hose. Wait for about 60 seconds and the flame will die. The flame has died. Now I turn both valves off. The stove also works with LP gas, but in order to get maximum output, you need to change the jet depending on what fuel you use. We've been using white gas, but in order to use LP gas, you need to change the jet nipple. The LP gas has the largest hole, 4.5. You simply remove the flame spreader and then you use the multi-tool to unscrew the jet nipple. When you buy the Omni fuel, it's the jet for the LP gas that is mounted. Last you attach the flame spreader and then you attach the hose. When you use LP gas, you don't need to preheat. You just open the two valves and light the stove. When you turn off the stove, make sure to turn off both valves before you remove the cartridge. One of the advantages for this stove is that it's very rugged and that you can do the maintenance yourself if needed. One thing that you need to do regularly is to clean the jet nipple, then use the multi-tool. You'll need to clean the jet more often if you're using kerosene or diesel. Another thing, this small brass cone opens when you pump and lets the air in and then closes to prevent the fuel to get out. If this cone gets stuck, the stove will leak. This is extremely rare, but if it happens, just take it out and put it back inside. The O-ring goes in first. Then, if you haven't used your stove for a long time, this leather gasket might dry up. You notice this when the pumping is ineffective and you can't build up pressure. There is no need to replace it, just grease it up and it will work again. That's all. Bye!